Ladies, ghouls, warriors of barely, contained anxiety, let's talk confidence. Let's talk joy. Let's talk about hauling your beautiful, chaotic self out of bed and remembering that you are not a mistake. You are a walking, talking miracle with muscle and madness in equal parts. Repeat after me, I am not trash. Even when I feel like a cursed potato in a world of Instagram filters and motivational hashtags, I still count. Why? Because existence isn't a test you need to pass to matter. You woke up. You showed up. That's 90% more than most ghost kings of regret do. Confidence is not perfection. It's persistence. That's the truth most people don't want to hear. We've been sold this illusion that confidence means flawless execution, pristine speech, a perfectly timed joke, and an aura of unshakable cool. But that's a performance. Real confidence doesn't live in polish. It lives in showing up again and again, even when everything inside you is screaming that you're not ready, not worthy, not enough. Imagine confidence as a sword, not one that gleams in the sunlight, but one that's scratched, dented, and battle-worn. It's not ceremonial, it's not decorative. It's a weapon you've earned through days when your voice trembled, your hands shook, and your doubts stood louder than your sense of self. Confidence doesn't arrive with fanfare. It builds itself up in the background while you push forward, step by awkward step. It's persistence that teaches you to keep walking into the room, even after you've fumbled your words in the last one. It's showing up to the conversation you wish you could avoid, being honest when it would be easier to stay silent, trying again after every rejection. Perfection might get applause, but persistence earns growth, and growth is where real confidence takes root. The idea that you need to be perfect to be taken seriously is a lie dressed up in expectations. From school to work to social media, we're trained to curate ourselves, to sand off the edges and hide the scrapes. But curated confidence is brittle. The minute you face something unexpected, something real, it shatters. Persistent confidence, on the other hand, adapts. It absorbs failure without letting it define you. It lets you fall down without branding you a failure. There's something brutally honest about persistence. It demands that you look at yourself not just on your best days, but on your worst. It doesn't wait for you to feel ready. Confidence through persistence means doing it while anxious, while uncertain, while grieving, while exhausted. And that isn't weakness. That's strength disguised as chaos. That's showing up anyway. Think of how many people never take the risk. They wait for the perfect moment, the perfect version of themselves. They collect knowledge and polish and potential like trophies they never actually use. But confidence is forged in the doing, in the mess, in the repetition. In every single time you say, I don't feel like I can, but I will anyway. When we look at people we call confident, what we often see is the result of persistence. Years of failed attempts. Awkward starts, painful missteps. The part that gets posted is never the whole story, but you better believe the story exists. Nobody wakes up radiating certainty without having earned it. That radiance is residue from countless times they did it scared. And sometimes persistence looks small. It's not all speeches and spotlight moments. Sometimes it's answering one more email when your brain is fried. Sometimes it's getting out of bed when you didn't sleep. Sometimes it's speaking up in a meeting or walking into a gym where you feel like an imposter. That quiet resistance to giving up, to staying invisible, that's the core of confidence. Perfection wants to be admired. Persistence wants to improve. One is afraid of failure, the other uses it as a staircase, and you can't build confidence without failing. Not truly, because if everything goes right the first time, what have you actually learned? Where's your evidence that you can survive difficulty, rebuild from disappointment, recenter after embarrassment? That's what persistence gives you, proof, not polished, airbrushed proof, but raw, personal, powerful proof. It's in those moments when you feel most unqualified, most out of place, most unprepared, that you start to understand your own capacity. The version of you that shows up then, that's the one who builds unshakable confidence. Not the one who gets it right the first time, but the one who gets back up every time. Even if it's ugly, especially if it's ugly. Confidence doesn't require that you never doubt yourself. It requires that you don't let doubt have the final word. You'll second, guess, you'll freeze up, you'll wish you could vanish into the floor. And then you'll try again and again, and that's what builds the muscle. That's what teaches your brain, hey, maybe I can do this. Not once, but over time. Not in theory, but in motion and persistence. It's exhausting. Let's not pretend it isn't. It's draining to keep showing up without immediate results, to keep extending yourself while the world keeps demanding more. But in that exhaustion lies the truth. If you're tired, it means you're trying, and trying when you don't feel good enough is a radical act of self-belief. You won't always get rewarded for it, not right away, sometimes not at all, but the reward isn't always external. Sometimes it's internal. Sometimes it's in walking out of a situation with your head held a little higher because you know you didn't let fear drive. Even when fear was louder, even when doubt had a megaphone and confidence was whispering from the back of the room. You learn your own resilience that way. You learn you don't have to wait for the world to validate you. You learn that you can be scared and still take action, that you can be uncertain and still make a choice, that you can fail and still have worth, and that is the kind of confidence that nobody can take from you, because you earned it, because it's rooted in what you've lived through, not what others think of you. The more you persist, the less intimidating fear becomes. It doesn't vanish, but it loses its power, because now you have evidence. You've faced it before. You didn't crumble. You didn't implode. You handled it. Maybe clumsily, maybe awkwardly. But you handled it, and that's a story you can carry into the next challenge and the one after that. Confidence isn't a switch. It's a climb, a bruise, knee scrape, elbows still, standing kind of climb. Persistence is your gear. It's your rope, your grit, your fuel. It keeps you going when perfection would have made you quit. It allows for imperfection. It expects it, and it makes room for joy, for discovery, for self, forgiveness along the way. If perfection were required, none of us would get anywhere. Confidence would be a privilege for the flawless. But persistence levels the field. It says, keep showing up, even messy. Keep trying, even tired. Keep believing, even quietly. That is where the real power lies. Joy is a daily act of rebellion. It isn't just a feeling that washes over you when everything's perfect. It's not reserved for holidays, big wins, or goal. And our sunsets captured through curated lenses. Joy, real joy, is raw, gritty, and often inconvenient. It's the decision to look life in the eye and say, you don't get to break me today. It's fierce, not fragile. And in a world constantly trying to convince you that you aren't enough, that you're too late, Too much, too flawed. Choosing joy becomes a radical declaration that you are still here, still breathing, still open to the beauty that somehow survives. We live in systems that profit off your dissatisfaction. Entire industries exist to tell you that you're one product, one milestone, one fix away from happiness. Joy doesn't serve that model. You can't monetize contentment that grows from within. That's why we're constantly sold distraction in the shape of fulfillment. But joy, the unfiltered, unlicensed kind, isn't something you wait for or buy into. It's something you choose, often in direct defiance of the chaos surrounding you. There are days when joy feels impossible. The grind gets heavy, the grief presses down, you wake up already exhausted, already behind. And still, joy waits like a quiet dare. Will you reach for it anyway? Not because you've earned it, not because things are okay, but because you're alive. And aliveness in itself is enough to make space for joy. That's rebellion, that's resistance, that's telling the dark that it doesn't get to steal everything. Joy isn't passive. It's not something you sit around hoping for. It's forged, it's scavenged, it's dragged out of moments you'd never expect. It's finding laughter in the middle of heartbreak. It's dancing barefoot in your kitchen with tears still drying on your cheeks. It's absurd jokes in hospital rooms, memes shared during breakdowns, music that lifts your chest when the world is heavy. It's not about ignoring the pain. It's about refusing to let pain be the only thing that defines you. There is power in saying, I choose to smile today, even when your heart is aching. That doesn't make you fake. That makes you brave. Choosing joy doesn't erase your struggles. It declares that you are not reduced to them. It's reclaiming agency in a life that often feels like it's spinning out of control. Joy is not a luxury for the lucky. It's a weapon for the weary. It's a strategy. It's survival, and it's yours. People confuse joy with ease. They assume that if you're joyful, you must be unbothered, privileged, naive, but that's wrong. The people who embody the fiercest joy are often the ones who've been through the most. They carry joy like armor. They create it where there is none. They laugh not because life is always funny, but because they know what silence tastes like when it stretches too long. Their joy isn't shallow, it's hard, won. It's stitched together from memories, grit, and stubborn hope. Every time you choose joy, you're rejecting a world that thrives on burnout, cynicism, and conformity. You're saying, no, I will not numb myself into submission. No, I will not stop feeling. No, I will not apologize for still being soft in a world that rewards hardness. Joy is not weakness. It's strength wearing a grin. It's what keeps you human when everything else demands automation, detachment, cold efficiency. It's the voice inside that whispers, there is still beauty here. Even when your surroundings scream otherwise, it's in the details. Joy lives in the absurdity of your pet's face when it hears the treat bag. It lives in the first bite of something warm when you thought you'd forgotten how to eat. It lives in texts from friends that say, made me think of you. It's in every ridiculous pun, every unexpected compliment, every time someone says, take care, and means it. These aren't small things. They're lifelines. They're resistance packed into tiny, powerful doses. And yet, joy requires vulnerability. To feel joy is to open yourself to the risk that it might leave. To smile is to accept that sorrow still exists. But joy says, let it, I'll smile anyway. That vulnerability is terrifying, but it's also freedom. You stop waiting for the perfect moment. You stop needing permission. You find the courage to love now, to laugh now, to sing off key in the shower now, not because life is polished, but because it isn't. There's a lie that says you have to be healed before you can feel joy, that you have to get your life together before you're allowed to celebrate. But joy is not a finish line. It's not something you earn. It's something you claim right in the middle of your mess. If you keep waiting for the chaos to stop, you'll miss all the small, luminous things trying to reach you through the static. Joy is not denial. It's not pretending bad things aren't happening. It's acknowledging the darkness and choosing to carry light anyway. It's lighting a candle in the storm, not because the storm will stop, but because you need to see your own hands. It's singing while building the lifeboat. It's not just rebellion against despair. It's an antidote. It's what lets you say, yes, the world is on fire, but I'm still going to savor this moment. And joy isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet, a breath that comes easier than the last one, a night of sleep that doesn't break, a moment of silence that doesn't feel empty. That stillness, that sacred, uncelebrated stillness, is joy in its purest form. It asks for nothing. It doesn't demand a performance. It just exists, tender and true, waiting for you to notice it. The world doesn't often reward joy. It rewards productivity, pain, performance. So sometimes you have to defend your joy. Guard it, cultivate it like a garden in hostile soil. Choose it when it's inconvenient. Hold it tight when it tries to slip away. Because it's yours, and it matters. Every single moment you allow joy to bloom in your life, no matter how brief, no matter how small, is a declaration that your humanity cannot be stripped away by pressure, deadlines, or despair. Even when you're exhausted, even when you're cynical, even when you're numb, if there's a flicker of something good, let it in. Let it warm you. Let it remind you that there's more to life than enduring it. There's a reason you keep going, and joy is part of it. It may not save the world, but it saves something inside you, and that is worth everything. So here we are, standing in the quiet aftermath of everything that's been said. Confidence, that unruly and misunderstood force, isn't the shiny trophy we thought it was. It's not a perfect performance or a photo-ready smile. It's a scarred and stubborn thing, earned not in moments of applause, but in the moments when you thought you couldn't and did it anyway. It's persistence. It's the repetitive choice to stand, to speak, to try, to fail, to return. And joy. Joy is not a reward for surviving. It's not a treat handed out when the struggle ends. It is a form of survival. It is a revolution stitched into your day, a quiet but defiant scream against the weight of indifference, despair, and numbness. It is the act of reaching for something beautiful, even when everything feels broken. These aren't just concepts to nod at once and forget. They are practices, they are choices, and they are hard, because the truth is, there's no world where you will feel confident every single day. There's no life that gives you joy without interruption. But what you do have is the ability to come back to them, again and again, especially when it's hard, especially when everything in you says don't. That's when it matters most. The world will tell you to wait. Wait until you're ready. Wait until you're healed. Wait until everything is in place. But if you wait for perfection, you'll wait forever. Confidence and joy don't need your perfection. They need your presence. They need you to step into your life as you are, messy, uncertain, bruised, brilliant, and say, "This is mine. I claim this moment. I claim myself. You are allowed to be a work in progress and still show up boldly. You are allowed to feel fear and still act with courage. You are allowed to hold sadness in one hand and laughter in the other. You are allowed to be a paradox, a masterpiece in motion. And none of it makes you unworthy. In fact, it makes you real. And the real you is where the power lies. Let that sink in. Your strength is not conditional. It's not dependent on who validates you or how well you perform. It's born of the fact that you continue, that you persist, that you keep choosing light even when it flickers, that you let joy find you in unexpected places, that you return to your power even when it feels distant. Confidence and joy are not destinations. They're not boxes you check off once and call it done. They are habits. They are muscles. They are rebellions you repeat daily. And look, it won't always be graceful. There will be days when confidence feels like a stranger and joy feels like a lie. Days when your voice shakes and your heart caves in and nothing seems worth salvaging. On those days, remember this. Persistence doesn't look like perfection. Sometimes it just looks like breathing. Sometimes it looks like texting a friend. Sometimes it's brushing your teeth, drinking water, taking the walk, hitting send. Putting on your shoes or simply staying. Staying is an act of resistance. Staying is enough. Your joy is enough too. It doesn't have to be monumental. It can be quiet. It can be a second of stillness, a guilty pleasure song on repeat, a laugh in the dark. It can be ugly or loud or completely illogical. Joy does not need to make sense to be valid. It only needs to be true for you. And when you honor that, you reclaim the parts of yourself that the world has tried to bury. So remind yourself often, you are allowed to take up space. You are allowed to be seen. You are allowed to want more than just surviving. You are allowed to feel good, not someday, but today. Right now, in this skin, in this body, in this life that you're living. And yes, you're allowed to fall short. You're allowed to screw it up. You're allowed to be human. But being human doesn't disqualify you from being powerful. It qualifies you for it. You don't have to know where you're going to start. You don't have to be fearless to move. You don't need proof of success to try. You just have to begin again, begin always. Every time you fall, every time you doubt, every time you wonder if any of it is worth it, come back to that beginning. Come back to the truth you are here, and that is enough. Let the world misunderstand you. Let them underestimate you. Let them call you too emotional, too loud, too soft, too much. You're not too much. You are asterisk enough, asterisk, exactly enough. Enough to matter, enough to rise, enough to build something beautiful out of what they said was broken. You are the storm and the shelter. You are the question and the answer. You are not waiting to become whole. You already are. So take this with you. Every act of confidence, every act of joy, no matter how small, is a strike against everything that told you to sit down and be quiet. It is a refusal, a stand, a choice to live boldly, to speak honestly, to laugh without apology, to feel deeply, to be present, to be imperfect and still proud, to take up space in a world that wants you invisible. You were never meant to be invisible. Let your affirmations be messy. Let them be fierce. Let them be whispered or shouted or written in the margins of your notebooks. Let them be real. Say them on the days you believe them, and say them louder on the days you don't. This is your voice. This is your power. This is your life, and it is yours to shape moment by moment. So here's the final word, the one you can return to when everything feels like too much. You are not broken. You are becoming. You are not behind. You are on your way. You are not a burden. You are a force. Confidence is not perfection. Joy is not an accident. They are both choices you make every day. And the fact that you keep choosing them, that you're still here, still trying, still reaching, means you are already so much stronger than you know.